Many thanks for staying with us here on Newsdesk. Now, it seems the debate about the Afriwave contracts will not end anytime soon. Now, reacting to a press conference held by the National Communications Authority last week to dismiss reports of alleged fraud in the award of a license for an interconnect clearinghouse system, President of Imani Ghana, Franklin Kujo, insists the contract was fraudulently awarded. You're speaking this morning on the Super Morning Show with Kujo Yankson.
If you look at the page 11 of their new report, it has the same thing as the report that we had. It had the same work schedule, and it actually has the evaluation criteria and weighting scheme. The same thing. What I think Felix and his cohorts have done is essentially gone back, sat around, massaged the figures further, and then they forgot that in changing the pages, they were going to make elementary errors. By the way, we need to ask a fundamental governance question. When you asked Mawuko Zomelo whether he had the report, he said, well, he laughed. He asked the report, can we get it today? He said, well, the following day, NCA has a press conference. They can't give you the report. 1 year on, this work had been done. The report has not been released. 5-6 clear days after the NCA, is it 4 or 5? 5 days. Since the NCA organized a press conference, they couldn't give us the report. Why in God's name? Doesn't this sound illogical? How in God's name can we even trust that they've not gone back to massage figures and they've been borne out here, clearly? By the way, anyway, we'll come to this letter as well.
Yes, we'll talk about.
But Deputy Communications Minister Felix Ofosu-Kwakye says Imani President Franklin Kujo has got it all wrong.
Well, let me indicate that the NCA has published the reports given them by the evaluation panel on their website. It is signed, and everybody can see it. I only happen to have printed a soft copy of the report for purposes of analysis on new stuff. So there's no dispute that the NCA has a signed copy. Indeed, if you read what the NCA has put on their website, the contents are exactly like what I had in the studio on Joy FM. So there's no issue of a fraudulent document. Let me start off by categorically rejecting Franklin's claim that we have sat down to doctor this report. It is a malicious falsehood. You would recall that at the NCA's press conference, the evaluators publicly stated that the report that Franklin and others are bandying about does not represent their work. Indeed, the NCA in this statement has stated clearly that what they have put out on their website represents the true and accurate reflection of the work of the panel. The panel has affirmed so also. Now, the onus is on Franklin to tell the world where he got his report from. As far as I know, Imani or Franklin has not commissioned any report. They are bandying about the report, a report that the evaluators have publicly distanced themselves from. So he should tell the world where he got it from. The NCA has said that this is the report that was brought to them by the evaluation panel. And the evaluation panel has confirmed so publicly. So Franklin's attacks are unfounded. We are not in the business of doctoring documents. It is an official government document. Again, it is also instructive that this report has been around for a year. Indeed, it is not normal practice to go and publish evaluation reports. But it has become necessary to do so because of the falsehoods that Franklin and others are bandying about. And the NCA has explained that clearly in their correspondence. I have already told you that when I came to this file, I printed a soft copy for purposes of analysis so that I can deal with the claims that are being made. It doesn't mean that the ministry hasn't got a hard copy. A copy was sent to the minister. The NCA board kept a copy, which it uses for its business. They have published that report. They were the ones who commissioned the report. The evaluators, those who did the report, have publicly come out to say that that is the NCA's report. Okay. And now Franklin is disputing it. He is unable to tell us who specifically. Let him name names. Let him tell you who gave him that report. At least the NCA has said that this is what the evaluators sent. The evaluators have said so also. Now, you speak about the transpositional error. The NCA statement also clarifies that, indeed, if you go onto their website, they've uploaded additional documentation to establish what has happened.
And indeed, we'll be going to that particular website in a brief while. But Mr. Franklin Kujo of Imani, Ghana, has also been sharing a copy of the letter from the National Communications Authority on its first report on the issue. The National Communications Authority has actually dismissed those reports anyway.
Do you know that, in actual fact, the legislation which is supposed to have aided the acquisition of this license, which NAPO refers to, only was sought for after the license had been granted? This is a letter from the Office of the President, a memorandum submitted by the Ministry of Communication, and I read, I'll give you a copy. Policy approval for the Electronic Communications Amendment Bill and approval for the Electronic Communication Amendment Bill to be laid in Parliament. At its 37th meeting held on Thursday, 10th December 2015, Cabinet considered the above-mentioned memorandum submitted by the Minister for Communications. Cabinet was requested to give policy approval and approval for the Electronic Communications Amendment Bill to be laid in Parliament. 3. Cabinet approved the memorandum for consideration by Parliament. I shall be grateful if you could requisite action on the decision of Cabinet. This letter was supposed to have formed the basis to legitimize some of these exercises that were taken within the telecoms industry, including this license. But this license, the evaluation was completed, and we still insist it was rushed. You cannot say, and the NCA's response this morning saying that they did a stakeholder consultation. You don't do stakeholder consultation with market women to evaluate the technical reports. You don't include that. You should have had more than 3 weeks to do that. In any case, the point I'm making is that because this was now being sought for in order to legitimize something that was wrongly done as far back as January 23rd or January 29th or January 30th, whichever date the NCA chooses. In actual fact,
what's the date of this letter again?
This is 11th December 2015.
Okay, so a whole year after
they
had granted
the license. So what they are doing right now, including the things they've done this morning by issuing this report, is to go back in time to actually instill more errors.
Okay, so let's go to that particular website that was referred to by both Franklin Kujo of Imani, Ghana, and the Deputy Communications Minister, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, and you can see that on your screens right now, and that's www.nta.org.gh, and if you go to that particular segment of downloads, that section over there, you can see the report of application evaluation panel on the licenses and response. Okay, so let's go on to that particular link now and read to you what the statement there reads. Okay, so release of report of application evaluation panel on Interconnect Clearinghouse Services license and other documents and response to Imani's fraudulent claims. Now, the National Communications Authority wishes to announce for the information of the general public that it has published a report of the application evaluation panel on the Interconnect Clearinghouse Services license and other relevant documents. Now, the report and documents can be downloaded from that very website I mentioned to you earlier, nta.org.gh. The NCA has taken this step in the interest of transparency, it says. Now, this is the final report bearing the signatures of all members of the panel that was presented to the board of the NTA on January 29, 2015. The contents of the report are a true and accurate reflection of the exact findings and recommendations of the AEP. Members of the AEP have publicly affirmed that the content of the report published is a true and accurate reflection of their work. Any other document containing content other than what the NCA has published and which is purported to be the original copy of the AEP's report is therefore fraudulent, a total fabrication, and should be disregarded. Now, we've become aware that Mr. Franklin Kujo of Imani has claimed that he obtained an alleged leaked copy of the report from a member of the AEP. We categorically deny that the said report is that of the AEP. We entreat Mr. Kujo to publish his so-called report and name this supposed member of the panel so he or she can actually confirm this. So indeed, like I said, this thing doesn't look like it's going to die anytime soon, but we'll keep our eyes on this and we'll bring you a lot more later on in other bulletins. But